Good afternoon, everyone. Due to some technical delays, we have to re-upload this video, so if you already saw it, thank you. If not, we're going to talk again about what it means when you feel different. And that could be anything, like not feeling as smart as the other kids in class, or feeling like your kid's homework is just too crazy. Okay, so we're going to jump right into our book. It's a little long today, but it's a really great story. And so let's get started with Don't Look at Me, a child's book about feeling different. My name is Patrick Edward Parker, and I'm not like other kids. I don't want to be special or anything. I just want to be like everybody else. A kid at school called me retard. My dad told me to forget about it. But how do you do that? The problem is, I'm not so smart. The first time I knew I was dumb was in the first grade. I'm not as dumb as Harold, though. He failed kindergarten. I don't read so good, and I'm really stupid at math. The truth is, I can barely add. I hate school. I just hate it. I never get a happy face sticker. Hardly ever. When they divide up teams for the spelling contest, I get picked last, except when Marvin's at school. He's mental. Once at recess, David said, "How does it feel to be the dumbest person who ever lived?" Pat, Rick. It doesn't feel good. That's how. Recess is the worst of all. When it rains, we have to play on teams in the gym. I get picked last, of course. Last week, when Jamie was captain of a team, he said, "For sure we don't want Patrick." "You take him. No, you take him." Then the teacher said, "Patrick, you go with Team A." Jamie said, "Guess we're stuck with you." Team A lost. I wish I had a friend. Maybe I try too hard. That's what my big brother said. I just want somebody to play with me. He wouldn't have to like me best of all or anything. Well, I couldn't play after school anyway, 'cause I have chores. That's the way it is, Dad said, when you live on a farm. Jamie, he's the mean one, calls me Patrick Porker instead of Parker, or all beef patty. Once, when I walked past his desk, he said, "Hey now, that's a meatball." Does he think I got fat on purpose? My name is Patrick. That's my name, and I don't want to be called anything else. When I was waiting for the school bus one day, Jamie said, "What's the matter with you? My mom says your parents don't help you learn." Me? I say you're stupid. Janet heard it all and made an awful face and said, "Duh," like I was stupid. They sat in front of me on the bus and whispered in a chant, "Patrick is a loser, couldn't win if he had to. Patrick is a loser, couldn't win if he had to." I hate it when we have to work problems on the blackboard, especially math problems. Usually I just stand there like I'm thinking real hard. The last time this happened, Janet said, "Sheesh, you can count on old retard to goof it up." The teacher said, "Can anyone help Patrick?" Janet said, Me. When she finished, the teacher said, "That's very good, Janet." The one really wonderful thing is my lamb, Fluffy. Fluffy is my very own lamb. He's mine. His mother wouldn't feed him when he was born, and Dad said I could have him if I took care of him. I've been giving him his bottle and brushing him and holding him, but mostly I talk to Fluffy. I tell him everything that happens at school. He never laughs at me. He's the only one who knows everything about me. I told Fluffy about the time I heard Mom and Dad talking. Mom said, "Well, we produced one bright son. I wonder what we did wrong with Patrick." And Dad said, "Patrick may not go to college." "Be serious," Mom said. "At this rate, he may not make it past grade school." "Something is wrong with him. We just need to face the facts." And Fluffy, remember when I knocked over the milk at supper and Dad banged his fist on the table and said, "Don't you get tired of being stupid, Patrick? Think, son, think." One night, when Patrick was in the barn and alone with Fluffy, the lamb snuggled up close and in a gentle, soft voice began to talk. "Patrick, some of how you see yourself depends on how you think your parents see you. If enough people tell you you're inferior, you start believing them." Fluffy's voice was low, and sometimes it cracked because he hadn't talked much before, but he continued, "Most people feel badly about themselves in some way. Sometimes people make fun of you because they don't feel good about themselves. They are handicapped by their attitudes." Fluffy had never talked so much in his whole life. "Patrick," he said, "sometimes I don't know the answer. Sometimes you don't. Nobody knows all the right answers. Your specialness is not based on how you look or how smart you are." And Patrick said, "Fluffy, I know you love me. You're my lamb. You have to. But I want somebody to be proud of me." And Fluffy said, "Maybe feeling dumb is an excuse not to try. You can find it hard to read. I know that. We all find something hard, very hard. You have to work 3 times harder than the others, don't you? I know you can do it if you try. You can give up or you can work like crazy." Patrick hung his head. He knew it was the truth. "My dad said I am lazy and don't try hard enough." "No," I told him. "I'm just dumb, Fluffy. I even look dumb in the mirror." But Fluffy interrupted. "But you can learn to be good at something. It won't just happen. You have to work at it." Patrick had so much to think about. He leaned on the fence and watched Fluffy with his lamb friends. He thought, "This fence protects the sheep. It keeps them from wandering away. We use the fence because we love our sheep. Maybe Fluffy told me to work hard because he wanted to protect me from feeling even worse about myself." It was an interesting thought. "But how, Fluff? How do I do it?" Just then, Fluffy saw Patrick and ran lickety-split over to the fence, prancing and wiggling his tail. Patrick called out, "What can I do to change, Fluffy?" And Fluffy said, "Think of as many ways to solve the problem as you can, and then start with, pick one." And Fluffy was gone again. "Okay, Fluff, maybe if I practice reading to you every night in the barn, that would help. And maybe Grandpa would help me with my spelling words." "Way to go, Patrick! Way to go!" Fluffy said. "It's your attitude that will make or break you, not how smart or how good-looking you are." That night, after supper, Patrick sat on the porch with Grandpa, and they worked on the spelling words. When they were done, he said, "There's something else, Poppy. The kids are mean to me at school, especially Jamie. Jamie is the meanest kid who ever lived. You can choose to ignore Jamie if you will. When he teases you, just pretend to hop on your horse and gallop away. It won't be any fun for Jamie if you won't listen to him. Jamie is not the boss of how you feel. Patrick, when you play by yourself at school, you may feel safe, but you also shut out loving, close friendships. You need a friend. I have Fluffy, Grandpa. Yes, but you need a people friend. I can teach you how to make a friend, Patrick. Patrick wanted to tell Fluffy about all of this. When he reached the barn, Fluffy snuggled up with his cold nose at Patrick's neck. Fluffy listened and listened. Finally, he said, "Sometimes a sheep gets stuck on its back and can't get up without help. You're stuck, Patrick, but you can change. You just need some help. Some of these hard experiences help make you stronger. You'll see." "Patrick, do you love me because I'm smart?" Fluffy asked. And Patrick said, "No." "Do you love me because I'm good?" asked Fluffy. And Patrick chuckled and said, "No." "Then, do you love me because I'm beautiful?" asked Fluffy. Patrick looked at his dirty fleece and said, "No." "Well then, why do you love me, Patrick?" Patrick started to cry and said, "I love you, Fluffy, because you're mine." And with that, Fluffy said, "Patrick, look at me right in the eyes. Patrick Edward Parker, I love you. You're the best you there is." The end. When we feel different or feel like we're outsiders from our classmates or our peers, it can be really difficult to raise our self-esteem, and sometimes it's even more difficult to talk about that with someone we love, especially sometimes when we get frustrated with someone or angry or we just feel fed up. But when we're able to take a step back and talk about how we feel or what we think with somebody, we can get help, and that's the best thing that we can get, especially right now. Remember, it's not always going to be perfect, and that's okay, but we should never stop trying. Thanks for listening, and we hope to see you again tomorrow.